I'm back super fast, I know, but I've been falling down the rabbit hole of Striker x Stella fan art, and one particular artist has really inspired me to redesign Stella. And then the whole family. Okay, I just want to say I both love and hate Stella. Like, I love how she's just mean in general. Like, we never get villains who are just evil anymore. I don't need a villain to have a tragic backstory that made them like that. You know, that kind of takes all the fun out of it. I mean, I find villains so much more interesting when they just are what they are instead of trying to make me feel sympathetic for them. I don't want to feel sympathetic for them. I would want to enjoy them as they are, you know, because it's more fun that way. However, I do want to be clear, I in no way like what Stella does or how she acts towards Stolas. Like, that's not what makes me like her. Because, I mean, that's kind of the point of her character. I'm not supposed to enjoy her actions. However, I do enjoy her performance, you know, like, anyway, yeah, I do also hate Stella. I just find that she's really one note. Like, yeah, I don't need a backstory, but I'd like a little more interaction with her and Stolas. So far, we've only seen them interact on screen 2.5 times, and we still haven't seen how she and Octavia interact as well. I've said this before a few times, but Hell of a Boss feels like a speed run of episodes. Like, we barely know enough about Octavia, Luna, and Millie. Millie, especially to me, gets the worst of it, along with Stella. Anyway, I feel if they had focused more on Blitzo and the gang, we'd have a more rounded cast, and then introduce Stolas and his family, like, later in the season instead of kind of at the start. Like, obviously we are getting introduced to their relationship in the start because they have a transactional relationship at the moment, but by the time the season is over, we've reached the conclusion of, like, their big blow up. And I'm like, this all happened a little too fast. I don't know. For me, it felt too fast. Like, I wish we could have spread it out just a little bit more, along with adding more layers to Stella's character. Like, it's clear she doesn't like Stolas and enjoys harassing him, but maybe have her admit that she's upset that Stolas did cheat and admit she doesn't love him, but that she is still his wife, you know, like, still have the cheating still be what it is, you know, like, obviously we don't love each other, but you still cheated on me, I'm still your wife, like, we're still technically a family, we have a child, obviously all that stuff is in her mind, like, that's in the back of her mind. Like, have her worry a little bit about how that reflects on her and the family in general with the higher ups. Since she seems to enjoy the royal life more than Stolas, and even though she thinks she's married down, she still knows that Stolas has a higher position than her family does, so it's just like, I'm a lower rank, you're a higher rank, and then you doing this to me just makes it even worse. You know, like, have her be a little bit more on Stolas about the royal implications of what's happening. Anyway, moving on to Stella's design, otherwise we'll be here all day. Stella's design, okay, it's okay. It's probably the design I dislike the most out of everyone. Like, her pilot design is hella ugly, but this version, though not ugly, is just super lackluster. Also, Stella, I think, is confirmed to be a swan and peacock hybrid. I'm not 100% on the swan part. I do know the peacock part is right. If she's a female peacock, then she doesn't look anything like one. But if she is a swan, she also doesn't look like one. She doesn't look like either bird because her beak shape looks exactly like Stolas, who is an owl. When a peacock and a swan have far more going on with their beak shapes, like, just look. But you know, when I first saw Stella, I just assumed she was a dove or another owl type till the rumors started going off that she was a swan or a peacock or whatever, you know. But based on her beak markings, you can tell that is a signature swan style. I also don't really care for her hairstyle. It looks a bit too relaxed and wild for a princess/queen type. I know she's not a queen. And the dress. Oh, the dress. How I have hated that thing. The neckline, the sleeves, the top and bottom skirts do not match. In fact, nothing matches at all. It's all over the place. The neckline looks like a weird choker and doesn't match the ends of her puffy sleeves. The bottom of her top puffs out like she's tucked it into her belt and it won't stay down. The bottom half of her dress is okay, but kind of weird and extremely complicated. But I mean, it looks like two separate pieces. It does not look like one coherent dress. And as for the color, it's fine, other than the pink gradient. As you can see, it's the only color on her dress, and it's only in one spot, as everything else is white and dark gray. Her arm things are just kind of weird in general. But, I have tried so hard to like this design, but I can't. It's so mismatched and way too childish for someone who seems to care so much about appearances. Plus, she's a fully grown woman with a child, so this isn't really something I would see an adult royal wearing. I mean, I do actually like the bottom half for what it is, but the top, I truly can't. Plus, I have tried to find any info on the references for Stella's design, but there's zero. There's nothing. There's nothing from. I can't find a single thing to help me figure out the mindset of what the thought process of creating this dress. I mean, like personally, I don't care for Stella's pilot look either, but her outfit isn't as bad as what we have. Like, it's ugly, but, it's better. I also kind of don't like how most of Stella's outfit is the same color as her feathers. Though, I will say I love her eye style and, single gray streak on her head. But everything else, and I'm sorry, I just don't vibe with. I know there are fans of the design, and that's great. I'm happy for you, but for me, I just can't. It's the one design that I literally can't. I really can't get behind it. But let's get into the redesign before this gets any longer. Okay, when redesigning Stella, I went hard on making sure she looks like the bird she's described to look like. And I say described with air quotes because, again, we still don't know what she technically is. But based on, the design elements of her, this is what we're going with. Because, we know for a fact that her brother is a peacock demon here, as you can see, which we'll get to him soon. Your time is coming, you icicle twink. Anyway, since Stella is probably a swan, half peacock hybrid, it would make some sense for her beak to look like her OG's, but it's still way too small to even be considered a peacock's beak, so I combined the two. Made her beak more pointed up than down. I also made her neck long, as that's something both peacocks and swans share. Though swans beat peacocks in the long neck department, but still. I did downgrade Stella's eyelashes as they're a little busy. I still love how long her lashes are, but 3 ultra long lashes feels like a lot. As for makeup, I went with a more metallic color. I planned to do a more silver theme, but thought a more darker metal would make her appearance more cold and dark. As you can see, a lot of her jewelry is this color along with her crown, as Stella is not truly royal. In fact, her brother is lower ranked than Stolas. He's technically a duke. I'll correct myself later. So Stella's family is ranked lower than Stolas, which means she was technically never a princess until she married Stolas. So I like to think that her crown color not being gold shows that her status is lower, but still elevated due to her marriage, As for eye color, I went the cliche route and made the whites of her eyes blue-green, which is kind of like a weird symbolistic nod to swans and the fact that they swim around in water, and to peacocks because that is their signature color. But technically, most swans' eyes are black, though some do have a very orange-red color going on. Anyway, though, as for why I did that, I secretly kind of hate how every Goetia demon has the same eye style. I get it's hell, and I get that they're demons, but some variety, please. I know demon eyes are typically red or white or black or red or whatever, but multicolored stuff isn't a bad thing, But that's just me. Anyway, for her hair, I shaped it more like a peacock's, but didn't give her the little back feathers. I don't know what those are called. I really need to look that up. I also made her hair more like hair. Obviously, I waved it out a little bit and simplified it as best I could, while also making it very whimsical. Later in the video, you'll see that I got rid of the gradient and did, in fact, do, her original hairstyle, which is, a darker gray with, purplish gray tips is what is the color I think it is. That way, in the next video, you'll see that she matches Octavia a little bit better. Now, the dress. I went full Swan Lake. Meets Charles James, not James Charles, or technically Dita Von Teese's Met Gala dress meets Swan Lake. Anyway, I made Stella's dress an off-the-shoulder with feather-styled upper sleeves and a deep-cut front, almost shaped similar to a sweetheart, but reverse, with feather accents in the middle. I decided to keep the puffy sleeves, but made them longer, still keeping that old royal look about them, but with added metal cuffs instead of the frills. As she is technically shackled to Stolas as much as Stolas is to her, since they both hate it and hate each other. leather in general. I also remade her belt into a metallic looking belt shaped like a corset, just to give the illusion that it is fully made out of metal and to show how sharp Stella's personality is and like how she comes off to people. The bottom of Stella's dress is kind of just a simple version of her OG dress. I was originally going to add pearls to the top, but felt it was way too much and kind of tacky. But I kept the feather theme of her original bottom dress all the way down. And yes, I gave her a mermaid silhouette, sue me, along with a clover-styled back. For those who don't know, when I say clover-styled, I'm basically referring to Charles James, who is the creator of the clover-styled dress. He has a really interesting way of sewing this particular piece, but it's basically really thick bottom backs that give this like hoop effect. You can it doesn't have to technically be 4, you can add multiples, but like this is what I'm referencing when I say clovered. But technically I would classify this as a 7 back, mostly to give the illusion of a peacock's tail, as swans have very short tails, as you can see. As for color, I was originally going to do a blue and pink theme, very soft, pastel, romantic kind of colors. But like the idea of Stella wearing primarily pink and dark gray borderlining on black, something kind of like Black Swan meets White Swan, but also giving Stella this like soft look about her. Like she's tricking people with her soft style, but also telling them, I may be beautiful, but I will drown you given any opportunity I can. Since swans are kind of evil. I mean, any animal slightly related to the geese family is going to be evil. So, but after playing with the blue a little bit, I realized no, I can keep the weird separate looks between Stella and her brother because, again, the brother's going to get a redesign at some point. And Peacock's primary colors are blues. So I figured, we'll keep it Stella is a girl. She's pretty. She's pink. Oh my God. And her brother is a boy and he's blue and, Also, side note, yes, I took away Stella's boobs, but hear me out first, because technically she doesn't even need them. She's a bird, and it's been confirmed she lays eggs, and that all the demon birds lay eggs. Look, boobs are a mammal thing, so what's the point? There's been no indication that, they use them for what they're supposed to be used for when they have kids. So it's just, it's another one of those, does she really need them? Because with angel dust, I get it, and I like the idea behind it, but for Goetia birds, I'm that doesn't make sense. Technically she could grow her feathers out and do like Angel does, but I'd like to think that in their bird world, bigger hips are where it's at, old school royalty where bigger hips is a sign of fertility. So plus she's a swan type and that's a big bird, so she'd be top of the list for being able to have kids, since that's pretty much what their royal society wants from her. So yeah, no boobs, only hips. And yeah, I already know that Stella and Stolas were engaged as children, but if I had the ability to change the show, I would make it to where they were aged up a little bit more. I still don't like the idea of Stolas falling in love and Blitzo when they meet as kids. I mean, as cliche as it sounds, I really don't like the love at first sight when we're kids kind of dynamic, and I also don't really like children arranged marriages. I like it better when it's coming of age ceremonies where it's 17, 18 and up, It's not my show, but that's how I would do it. I probably would have it to where Stolas is 18 and his dad brings up the fact that well, you're getting to be of age where you're officially going to be, the Stolas, you're going to take over the Stolas line. So you need to have a cautionary heir. You're my cautionary heir. Time to get married. La la la, you've got a year or two's time to pick somebody. And Stolas is no, I don't want to pick anybody. I'm going to be complicated and difficult and gay. And his dad's all right, well, I'm just going to pick for you. And he's ooh, pick her. She's a swan type. There's a higher chance that you will get an heir within the year or whatever, the dad's not thinking about compatibility. He's immediately thinking about heirs only. And so Stella gets picked and Stolas is all right, I'll marry her. And just like his dad predicts, they have a kid within the year, and that would still make Stella and Stolas very young parents, because originally they are still young parents within the Hell of a Boss timeline thing. So they have no idea what they're doing, especially Stella, since she's a young mom and doesn't know what she's doing and doesn't like her husband. So it's just what have I gotten myself into? On both sides. Anyway, I'm rambling, but anyway, I originally planned to have all 3 of the Stolas family, but It's beginning to turn into a lot. So, I'm going to split it up into 3, and then I'll talk about all 3 at the very end with Octavia's video. So, yeah, next video will, in fact, be Stolas, and then after Stolas will be Octavia, and then after Octavia, I have no idea, so bear with me on this wild ride. Hope you all had a super fantastic Christmas and possible New Year, because I don't know when I'm going to get this done. But yeah, remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I hope you all have a super fantastic day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!